Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to add a score panel. We're going to learn how to add lives, and then we're going to add a couple of other mechanics to our enemy and our fireball to make them a little bit better. So up to this point, we should have our dragon, which is our main character. We should have our scrolling background, our fireball as our projectile, and our enemy flying in from the right-hand side of the screen. So when we press play, and then we press the space bar, you should see some animation. You can see that the enemy can be shot. You can see that we do have some issues, right? So sometimes our dragon goes behind the background, and the enemies, nothing happens when they hit the dragon or when they hit the fireball. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding some mechanics to fix those issues. So first off, let's look at our dragon. Okay, so one of the issues is that he keeps going behind our background. And so to fix that, we're going to take this set of code and we're actually going to move it in front of the point and direction code. Make sure they're connected. So now we go to front layer, we're setting our size to 60%, and we are pointing in direction, right? And we're going to be starting here on the left side of the screen. So one other thing that we want to fix maybe is when we press play and we hit the space bar, we have to hit that space bar. So instead of hitting the space bar, let's add another function and change out the space bar for a control of when clicked. So that way, as soon as we start, he starts automatically. One other thing that I've been working on is the flying mechanism, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to add another costume. So in today's resources folder, I want you to go inside the resources folder and I want you to pick out Dragon 1D and drag it in here to our costumes panel. And you can see that it has a little bit of a different look to it, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our code once you drag it in, and we're going to trade that Dragon 1D costume out, right? So Dragon 1C is here, and so we're going to, instead of Dragon 1A, we're going to select Dragon 1D. Let's see how that looks. So it looks a little bit better, right? So he's not flapping so much, and he'll still make that other view, the fire-breathing view when he shoots his fire, but when he's flying, he just looks like he's out of breath, right? All right, looking pretty good. So I think that is it for this part. So now let's look at the background. Well, actually, let's do one more thing. So we want to have some background music. And so let us go over here to our control panel. You're going to select a when green flag is clicked. Then we're going to go over to our sound panel, and we're going to go to play sound. We're going to put that here. Now you're going to click on the sounds tab right here. And when you click on that sounds tab, we're going to be adding a background sound, right? So you're going to drag this background sound in from your resources folder again. Then we come back over here and we're going to select that background sound. And so now when we press play, you can see that we have some background sound. So the next thing we're going to do is come back over to our sounds panel, and we're going to change that volume of the background sound to 50%. So that way it's not overwhelming as we're playing the game. All right, so now when we press play, we have some background sound. We still have the sound when we shoot, but you can see that the enemy is still has some issues, right? Nothing happens when they hit us or when they go off the screen. So let us go now to our background tab. I'm going to do a couple of changes here. And so one issue is that our dragon keeps pushing in, right? Or pushing behind our background. And we also have an issue with we don't have a game over background. And so let's add a couple of different things here. So we're going to go up to our looks panel, and we're going to go to switch costume 2. I'm going to put that underneath our when clicked. And then we're also going to go to back layer. So we're going to go to, and it says front layer. We're going to bring it over here. We're going to select back layer. Now we're going to go to our costumes panel. Okay, so we have one costume on here. And so now what I want you to do is I want you to drag in the game over panel from today's folder. Okay, and so now you see that there's a game over panel. Come back over to your scripts and switch costume 2. We're going to have Night City with Street. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So when the star is a clone, I'm going to start with Night City as Street. And I am going to be going to the back layer. Okay. And that looks pretty good for now. We may have to come back to this tab in a moment. So let's do this. So now we're going to code our game over, right? So when we come over here, we're going to click on our when the green flag is clicked. We need a forever icon. We need an if then icon, right? So we're going to come over here to if blank, right? And then it has that little extra piece right here. And so now we need to go to operators. So you're going to go to operators. You're going to look for a equal sign. So blank equals equals, right? So blank equals blank. And then we're going to, and so what we're going to be coding here is when our lives equal 0, it's going to hit that switch costumes to game over, okay? And so we're going to go to switch costumes. Let's try this here. So switch costumes to game over. And so this is going to be 0 on this side, but this side we need a variable called lives. And so what we're going to have to do is come over here to our variables. So we're actually going to make 2 variables while we're here. So first variable, you're going to make sure that it is selected for all sprites. And we're going to call this first variable lives. Click OK. And then we're going to also make a score variable. Okay, so we're going to come over here and we're going to hit score. Make sure it is for all sprites again and hit score. And so now you have some variables, and we're going to code these variables. You can see that they're up here. We're going to move these to a better spot right here. And in this block right here on our operator pad, we're going to have, and we're going to drag our lives onto there. So if lives equals 0, switch to custom game over. And so let's see what happens here. And so what we're going to do right now is we are going to move on to our fireball. Let's see if we have anything to fix up in here. So one thing I did want to fix on the fireball is when I shoot the fireball, you see how big that fireball is. So we're going to go over here to our looks icon, and we're going to set our size of our fireball right underneath when I start as a clone, set size to 60%. So that way the fireball is a little bit smaller. Let's see how that looks. Let's set it up a little bit more. So 50%. Let's change that to 50%. Here we go. Okay. And so we also want to make sure that if touching enemy, yes, wait 1 second. Great. All right. So the fireball looks good. Let's go over here to enemy real quick. And we'll check here. Okay, so we do have a couple of things that we have to code on here on our enemy. And so what we have to do is we have to come up with how the lives and how the score changes, right? And this is going to be on our enemy sprite in our character. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our variables. And we're going to, so when I start as a clone forever, if touching dragon, we want to lose a life, right? And so what we're going to go here is we're going to change by 1. So we're going to put this right below our play explosion sound. And we're going to change our lives by -1, right? So we want to lose a life every time that our enemy hits our dragon, okay? And then on this part right here, we also want to change our score, right? So this is for the fireball. And so we're going to come back over here to our mechanism, our variable. And so it is going to be change our score by +1. So every time it hits the dragon, it loses 1. Every time it hits your fireball, you gain 1. Okay. And now we do need one more set. So we're going to click on here. We're going to hit duplicate. And we're going to actually set up another character, and it's going to be called left edge. Okay. Because we want that enemy, when it hits the left edge, we want him to give us or take away 1 life, right? And the reason why we're doing that is because otherwise you could go on forever. If you never have to worry about them hitting that edge, you would be able to play this game forever. And so we can't just choose edge, because then it would be -1 every time it hits this edge. You have to designate which edge it is, right? And so what we're going to do now is you're going to come over here to your sprites. You're going to add 1, right? You're going to click on here. You're going to go to costumes. You're going to paint a costume. And all you're going to do is select on this line tool. And we're just going to draw a straight line from the top to the bottom. Okay? So you're just drawing a straight line from the top to the bottom. Make sure it goes all the way up and down, straight. Hit OK. You can see that it placed that line. And that's okay, because what we're going to do now is you're going to go to your scripts. And inside that line script, we're actually going to name this sprite as left edge. So it's designated. Inside that line script, we only need 2 blocks. We need a when clicked, and then we need a go to button. Okay, so we're going to have a motion, and we're going to go to an XY. So go to X. And so remember, this side is -240. So the X is going to be -240. And then our Y-axis is actually going to be on the 0 plane. So we're just going to keep Y as 0. And so when we press play, you're going to see that you no longer see that line because it's behind here. And you can see that we're losing some lives now. Okay, so let's go back over here. And we're going to go back to our enemy right now. And we have to change our lives by -1. So let's check this here. So we have our dragon. It changes lives by -1 every time it hits the clone. Our score changes by +1 every time we shoot it. And our lives change by -1 every time that it hits the side or the left edge. Okay. And so let's look at this. Yes. Okay. Looks good. Okay. So let's see if this works. Okay. I do see one thing that we have to change, and I'm going to fix that right now. We have to come up with a code for how we start. Okay. And what we're going to do for that is we're going to come up over here. We're going to create a new sprite, and this sprite is going to be called controller. Okay. This sprite doesn't matter. It's not really going to show, because it's going to end up going behind the script anyway, or the background anyway. But we are going to add a few lines here. Okay. So what we're going to do is come over here to your control. And so in the script area, we're going to have a when green flag is clicked. We have to set our scores, right? So we're going to set our score to 0. And we're also going to set our lives we're going to set it to 3. So we're going to have 3 lives in this game. Okay, so come back over here to control, and now we're going to be setting how the lives work, right? And so again, you're going to have another green flag is clicked. You're going to come back over here. You're going to go down to where the forever module is. We need a forever module. And then we need another if-then statement. So a standard if-then statement is going to go inside the forever module. And we also need a stop all. Okay, so that's going to go right inside the forever module. And what we have to code here is going to be an operator. So coming back over to operators, we have to pick up another blank equals blank. Okay, and inside this operator is what we're going to code for our variables. So this is going to be for lives. And so we're going to go over here to lives equals 0. Then we stop all. Okay. And then we're going to code a sound for that. Okay. So we're going to come back over here. We're actually just going to duplicate this. And it's going to be the same, except instead of stop all, we're going to come over here to our sound and we're going to play a sound. Okay. And so this is where you're going to be dragging our next piece in. And so the sound that we are going to use for this one is going to be the lose game. So go inside the folder and you're going to see that we have a lose game icon. We're going to go over here to sounds. And inside your sounds area of the controller, we're going to put lose game. Go back to your script and now choose lose game inside this area. All right, so let's see how this looks here. All right, so it seems to be working. Let's see if so it's taking away lives. Oh. Okay, so we do have a couple of things, right? So we got a score. The score is working. The lives are working, but there's no sound for that. So I want to add a sound for our lives every time we lose a life, so that way it tells us when we're losing a life. And I also want to make sure that when the game over screen comes up, that it's centered, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here to our dragon real quick. And let's see if we need anything in here. No, it's not going to be in the dragon. Let's look inside of our enemy. Yes, let's look inside the enemy. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. So if touching the dragon, we're going to change a lose life. We're going to have a lose life icon. So we'll come back over here to sounds. And I do have the lose life in here already. You're going to be dragging that in. Okay, so all you have to do is drag it from that folder, lose life, right? And should be good to go. And that's what it's going to sound like every time that we lose a life, okay? So make sure you have that dragged into your sounds area of your enemy. Then come back over to scripts. And we're going to change that play sound. Instead of explosion 1, we're going to hit lose life. And we're also going to set our volume a little bit lower. So that way it's not so loud. And we're going to set that to 60%. Okay. And we're going to keep the explosion for when it hits the fireball. We're also going to set that down, set that sound down a little bit. So we're going to set the volume to, we'll just keep them all at 60%. And then here again, when it hits the fireball, well, that might be the issue. So we didn't choose our left edge. Good one. Okay, so on this third area, we do have to change left edge. That's why it wasn't losing life on this side. So when it hits on the left edge, we want to also lose a life. And so now let's check our game. Okay. So we're getting the scores. Okay, we just lost a life. Oh, lost the second life. We lost our third life. Okay. So let us go over here to our background now. And so inside this background, we're going to add a motion block, and we're going to have a go to X and 0, X and Y, right? So X is going to be 0, Y is going to be 0. That is going to make sure that our game over screen is centered. So let's play one more time. Let's do this one. There we go. Okay, and so now the last thing that we have to do is we have to take this controller and make sure this icon never is shown, even if it's in the front. And so we're going to go over to our controller, and we're going to set a X and Y. And so let's go over here to our positions. So go to, and we're going to have this guy off the screen. And so forever, so he's going to go to negative 250, 0. Let's see if that will work. There we go. We aren't going to see that guy anymore. It's not going to be a problem. All right, so now we're checking. Movement works. And our game over. Perfect. Okay. So let's do one last check here for everything. So we have our controller. And so our controller is lives. Stop all, lose game. Perfect. Looks good. We're going to start going backwards. So now our left edge, that's good to go. Our enemy, let's see if we have to do anything else here. Set volume. Let us. So let's look at this. Let's look at how often the enemy is coming in. And so let's change this to 1.5 seconds. So that way it's a little bit slower. And okay, looks good to me. And then fireball, I think the fireball looks pretty good. I think we don't have any more issues with the fireball. So touching edge. All right, our game over. That centered, so that was good. I think that we fixed all of our issues with our background, our scrolling background, and the last piece is our dragon. So one more time, let's change some of this, arrange it. So I like to have my up and down arrows. That shows me. I like to have all my fires on the sides here, so that way I can see if there's a difference, if there's any changes that need to be made, and then I always have my sound here. So I think we're good. All right, so let's start this up. Let's do start over, and let's try. Oh, something happened. Okay, maybe it was just a glitch. Okay, so we're gaining our scores. Okay, so we just lost one. There's a 3. Done. I think we're done, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the game. That is our dragon game. The next thing we need to do is we need to go up here to our project. We need to add our project notes. And so this is what you're going to be adding into your project notes. So controls, up and down keyboard keys for movement, left mouse click to shoot a fireball, and you have 3 lives to shoot as many of the enemy as you can before they hit you. And so this is what I want you to write into your project notes for your game. So that way, if somebody else is playing your game, they know all the controls. So once you add your project notes, click OK. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here. We're going to save as, and we're going to name it Dragonfire Defender. So I want you to save it as Dragonfire Defender here in the Save Project area. Hit Save. Yes. So Dragonfire Defender, I'm just keeping mine as Dragon example. And then the next thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to go back to Snap and you're going to publish your game. And that is what you're going to share with me, okay? And so you're going to come back over here to our Snap website. And then once you come over here to the Snap website, you're going to make sure you're logged in. You're going to go to My Projects. And you're going to go to your game, right? Your game that you want to publish. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to your game that you want to publish. First, you're going to hit share. Yes, you want to share. This is the project that you're going to share with me in today's assignment. Okay, so you are going to share this assignment with me. This is how you're going to share. So you're going to copy this code right here, and you're going to make sure that you copy and paste that into copy link address and paste that into today's assignment. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hit publish. And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be publishing to the Snap website. So that way I can go check it out. Okay, so this project is now listed on the Snap site and we're good to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this example. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Okay, guys, have a great day and I'll talk to you later.